Hi guys, Editing John here. Just to give you a quick heads up before we start the episode this week. Essentially, we recorded this week's episode, a lovely 25 minutes of talking about Japan and all our usual stuff. We then blathered on for about another 40 minutes talking about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Now, for some of you, that's definitely your jam. For some of you, not so much. So what we're going to do is upload that slightly later in the week, so those who want their Japanese stuff get their Japan stuff, and those who want their anime awards get their anime awards, with all the ridiculous amount of detail involved there. So make sure you like our Facebook page or our Twitter or our Podbean to keep updated with that. We've also started streaming on Twitch. The best place to look at that is Facebook. We're playing Final Fantasy III, but with that out of the way, please enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Geeks and Gaijins. I'm the Gaijin Jon.
And I'm the Geek Tom.
And you are listening to us, well, not live, because that would be creepy, but I am from the deepest depths of Totori Prefecture, Japan. And Thomas is somewhere in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the English countryside.
Woo! We combine the East and the West to make something that no one wants to listen to. So the point of our podcast is always to look at Japanese stuff from two different perspectives, from the East and the West. I like to say East and West a lot, or the Nishi and the Higashi. Been studying my Japanese. Yeah, I have.
Ooh. He's learning, folks. He's evolving.
I'm really not. This language is difficult. So, what have we got in store for the show today, Tomasz?
Well, today we have some news from the Pokemon Company that has confirmed that Jon is the superior intellect of the two of us this time round.
This was in doubt.
Hey, don't call me out like that. It's too early in the podcast. And then we're going to segue from talking about Pokemon to Jon. We do love our segues here. Jon's going to tell us more about what he's discovered about video game culture in Japan in general.
Yep. Then, of course, we have a snack break, which is themed after my favorite dumb Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Are you going to elaborate on that?
For fans of Yu-Gi-Oh from the early 2000s, 2003, there is a very famous monster card, a very bad one called Monster Burger, which is a really bad ritual monster. Yes, I have an instant burger, and hopefully it's not going to eat me, but there we are.
My favourite food-related Yu-Gi-Oh card would probably be Just Desserts.
That's a good pun. That's top-tier puns.
Getting that niche Yu-Gi-Oh fan base audience rolling there.
I mean, like, it's actually really big on YouTube. I have no idea.
Well, you can find anything on YouTube if you look hard enough, or not hard at all, because YouTube will just throw random stuff at you. Like, oh, I didn't know I was interested in this, but here we are now.
Or I don't want to watch Conan O'Brien for like the 5th time. Okay.
Oh, you watch Stephen Colbert once. Guess what you're going to watch for the rest of your life?
And after we watch that for the rest of our lives, we also have a bit of talk about the Anime Awards. Yes, Crunchyroll have announced the nominations for this year's Anime Awards, so we'll quickly thwip through those and give our not-so-professional opinion about them. Beep. Yes, listeners, they're about as quick as a narcoleptic sloth, hence my interjection.
Yes, let the descent begin.
Let's have fun, and with that, let's get into Gotta Catch 'em all, Pokemon. Yeah, so Thomas, tell me how great I am.
Well, okay, so a couple of episodes back, maybe a few more actually.
Yeah, quite a lot.
It was like episode 5 was the Great British Pokemon Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jon discussed what might potentially happen to Pokemon Sword and Shield going in the future, because usually the Pokemon Company likes to update the game through things like either sequel games or a third super game in the same series. And I thought that's how they were going to do it again this time around. Whereas Jon here predicted that they would utilize the Switch in the same way that other Nintendo games have and release DLC. And it turns out that they're going to go with the second option.
I am amazing. Basically, the other big Nintendo like first party stuff, like Smash Bros. I know they'd done DLC before, but like a set of DLC got really popular. And I'm going to go into it slightly later. Japan got really slow to getting into that internet and digital distribution thing. Like loads of stores here still have physical video games and stuff, like a large section where you can buy stuff. But with the Switch and like the popularity of the Switch shop, and especially the pushing of the online features for Pokemon Sword and Shield, it felt like the kind of thing of if they're going to try it, it'd be a good time to try it now.
Yep, so they've announced 2 new DLCs of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Both DLCs will be available for both games, as far as I can tell, with only some slight differences between the two.
That would be really dumb if one was available for one game and one was available for the other.
Just based on the backs of things like Omega and Sapphire, or whatever it was.
It's Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
That was it. Yeah, and based on things like Black and White 2, it's important to clarify that they're not making a sort of Pokemon Sword DLC and a Pokemon Shield DLC. It's the same DLC for both games.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you'll also get a free update along with it as well, which basically they're putting in their new service called Pokemon Home, which they talked about a bit more, which is basically where you can put all your Pokemon from all your different games if you are so inclined to try and really collect them all, which I will say again is an English phrase only used in English marketing, not in the Japanese.
Fair enough. But that's important because both the 2 DLCs are called the Isle of Armor and what's the
Crown Tundra.
Crown Tundra. And both of them not only introduce new Pokemon, but they also include Pokemon from older games that aren't included in the Sword and Shield base game. And I believe the free update allows you to bring in those Pokemon even if you don't have the DLC.
Including my boy Spheal, the seal that is a ball, who then evolves into a walrus. And I'm so glad they're bringing back some good ones. They're bringing back some good Pokemon. Also, a bunch new of them are getting Galarian forms, so new forms exclusive. They're adding lots of basically lots of favorites. I don't want to just go into very deep Pokemon stuff, but essentially one of them is coming out in June. That's the Isle of Armor, which you can actually access very early in the game, only a couple of hours in, and then you can basically switch between the two. But I think it's looking like a fun idea. So one's coming out in June and one's coming out possibly like winter. Isle of Armor's coming out first. And yeah, the biggest thing here, bar, because it's just more Pokemon. It's like you wanted Mega Evolution. Well, it's not Mega. You want more gigantic forms. Here's more gigantic forms. You wanted more stuff. Here's more stuff. It's just a general Pokemon.
Yeah, the 3 starters now have new Gigantamax forms other than just being big. But it's a bit weird because they're not actually getting bigger. They're just getting bigger structures to stand on. So Grookey's evolution gets a really massive set of drums. Cinderace stands on a giant ball of fire and has really, really long ears. And Inteleon gets a massive water tower and a harpoon sniper rifle.
All right. But
they gave the salamander a gun.
Well, he already his special ability in the game is him shooting his hand as a water pistol.
He had a finger gun. That's not quite the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but yeah. So hopefully, I want more anglicized Englishness of the Pokemon Company, just attempting to do stuff. People have already been Isle of Armor, is that going to be the Isle of Man of something? And I'm just there are lots of places in the UK that are Isle of something. It doesn't have to just be one thing.
I've got to let you know, this big island that we're all living on has a lot of smaller islands surrounding it.
Really,
So,
I'm shocked, Thomas. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I thought it was all one island, and I thought Ireland was part of that island, and that's why it was called Ireland.
Personally, I'm holding out for it being Guernsey.
You've got your predictions here first, guys. Channel Island.
How will any of us know it's Guernsey? We won't. But
if they include a big fluffy cow Pokemon, then we'll know.
That's all we live for, really. I mean, we already have Miltank, but obviously we have a Mammoth one, I guess, as well. But we need something somewhere in between.
Yeah. So this kind of new Pokemon approach kind of brings into where Japan is with essentially video games, because in the West currently, especially the USA, the UK, and Europe, the big things are digital downloads. Like, lots of people don't even buy physical games anymore. You buy them online, on the PlayStation Store, on Steam, on the Xbox Store, and everyone thinks that's normal. Well, that's fine. Or you just buy the game off Amazon.
It's gotten to the point here where even if you buy a physical copy of a game, once you put the disc in, you still have to wait for a whole bunch of information to download onto your console. So the disc is less of an actual game now and more just a key.
Or the disc. Also, the disc can just contain a code as well, and it just speeds up the installation, as it were. I know that's how it was for the PC version of Fallout 4.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, no, this is... So you can basically use it to install it, but you still need an internet connection to activate it for the first time. Whereas Japan is very, very different. One, Xbox does not exist here. Well, it does, but both Nintendo and Sony are both Japanese companies. So they've been here long before the US. And so Microsoft just kind of goes, we don't even try anymore.
You can imagine the expense of trying to penetrate a market that well established, can't you?
Exactly. It makes no sense. They've kind of, I think they've started to like get more popular with like the amount of PCs becoming like more popular in Japan. Generally, like in like the headspace, they're just non-existent. It's all Japan. Japan doesn't really care about games from elsewhere, really, except it is kind of changing because obviously there's this push now on the Switch towards like indie games and also like downloadable content. And so you're finding, well, I'm finding, especially when I look through the stores, more and more just like, oh, that's a Japanese game, but oh, there's like the new Western game as well. So they're kind of, there's some more of it, but a huge amount of like games that we think of as Western games are actually either made in Japan or made in companies owned by Japanese companies as well. So it's, they want to recoup their investment as well. The thing is, the Switch was so stupidly popular here and still is. Also, the really popular one. So Pokemon's really popular, obviously, but also you have what was really popular, and I'm not sure if it still is anyone remembers the PS Vita, which was Sony's handheld console?
Does anyone remember the PS Vita?
I did. I still have one, and I really liked it. I thought it was.
I know.
It was basically their really powerful DS to play PlayStation games on, and I really liked it. And it did well in Japan, and everywhere else it bombed ridiculously. It was basically PlayStation Portable, but they're not so. That was really popular here, and so is basically. And so is the Switch and PlayStation 4 as well as loads of old Japanese games. Weirdly, I hear my students talk about like, oh, they're playing Final Fantasy 7. I'm like, all right. All right. Like, I'm playing that, but I'm old compared to you guys. That game came out the year I was born. So like, come on, guys. The children I'm teaching were born in like 2004. It's like me playing something, ironically, that came out in 1990. Watch us, we're streaming on Twitch, Geeks and Gaijins. We're streaming Final Fantasy 3. Oh.
Yes, and we're having a great time trying to figure out what on earth is going on.
Because it's a game released 30 years ago. But no,
It has no tutorial, absolutely zero
yeah,
instruction.
basically Thomas is sitting there with the equivalent of a game manual whilst I play it. It's like, what does this do? Well,
I don't usually enjoy games where I have to look up a wiki to know what's going on, but backseating John makes up for it, I guess.
exactly. But the games that are actually really popular here, as they are in the West as well, is mobile games. But not just any mobile games, Thomas. It's Gachapon pay-to-win mobile games. For those who don't know what the term Gachapon means, it essentially comes from the capsule machines in Japan, which are called Gachapons. But essentially it means there's a game where you can collect loads of different characters, and essentially you have to buy, either with real money or in-game currency, randomized boxes which contain these characters. And if you get more of the characters, you can level them up to do some kind of combat or whatever. And this is a base set of mechanics that essentially you can plaster anything onto. So really popular here are the Fire Emblem, essentially Fire Emblem ones. So in the West, if there's a big Star Wars one as well. Basically, it's any kind of video game or franchise you can do it for. But some of these became so popular, they even got their own anime. You can buy like merchandise for them. There's one where basically loads of traditional swords are just cute anime boys. Essentially, it's lots of stuff where cute anime boys or cute anime girls.
They'll take any concept and turn it into something adorable that people can really latch onto and pay far too much money to roll a dice and try and get out of what is basically a loot box, but somehow worse. So they've made these games on like swords and guns and tanks and ships and like actual like naval ships, and
but there are cute anime waifus. I keep on getting ads for in which an AA-12 anti-aircraft gun tells me to come and play with her.
And, it's weird enough as it is, but the problem is that it's been such a successful business model that literally every mobile game is like, we need to do that. That's how we're going to make our money. Because not only is it ridiculously easy to get people to pay money just for a randomized chance to get their favorite character, but it works so well. It's just
it's like the equivalent. I'll try to explain to our Western listeners. It's like if Candy Crush had a TV show, and it probably will do at some point. It has no story. There's no point to it, but Candy Crush Candy Crush will somehow get a TV show, or like Angry Birds getting 2 movies. Like, how could that happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
At least there's some degree of like skill involved in Angry Birds, though, and I can't believe we've gotten to the point where I have to defend Angry Birds as a quality game in the on the phone mobile gaming market. But Jesus Christ,
it at least requires physics or knowledge of basic physics.
Yeah, this is especially annoying to me because I think a mobile game would be really good for like a sort of RPG or a tactics game, and that's what I'm really looking for. But I can't find a single one where I don't have to just open random crates and hope I get something that's appropriately leveled and either not the worst that doesn't do anything, or somehow get a 5-star S rank, whatever, and just have no control over whether I win or lose the game anymore. It's just everything's a wash.
Or you just do what I do and just buy really old games and play them on your phone. I've just started playing Knights of the Old Republic on my iPad. And good games. Good games remain good games, even through awful controls.
Fair enough. Yeah. I can certainly see that.
And with that, I think Thomas needs a break.
Sorry, you hit a dark place in my life, which is the mobile phone gaming market.
Yep, but we're not going to solve it here, so we might as well solve it with food. Over to snack break.
Podcast magic.
Thomas, do you know what time it is?
It's a snack break time.
Snack break. That's a box of stationery. Ah. And that ding is the dinner bell for today's snack break.
You definitely didn't just whack something accidentally whilst you were.
No, that totally wasn't my coffee cup, but there we are.
All right, so what is for snack break today, John?
It is a Fukura burger. Basically, it's an instant burger I bought in a bag. This is teriyaki flavor.
Teriyaki making its return.
And I'm looking at it more and more. So there's a kind of teriyaki, there's a kind of like pale patty on a like regular burger kind of bun, with some very dark.
It's not
brown.
like a super sweet bun, is it?
I don't know.
Have a little bite of the bread, see if it's like an actual
the bread
normal.
it's not a super sweet bun. It's not like a big
okay.
but it's a proper burger bun. Then in the middle there's a kind of white gunk, which I think is like either cabbage or something else. It's not the teriyaki sauce itself. Maybe it's like mayonnaise, another thing in it, but you can't really tell.
What's it look like on the packaging? Yeah, it's not really clear. It's some form of chopped vegetable.
Maybe, but it looks more like a dollop of something. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've added some cabbage to it, so it actually tastes nice. I'm sorry, you snack break purists that we have. Like, oh, you can't adapt it afterwards. Well,
You're ruining the authentic Japanese flavor, John.
Yeah, of my Fukura teriyaki burger. So here goes nothing. Itadakimasu. Oh. Another note, I am having this cold because it didn't have any instructions on it to be
you could read.
cooked. No, I did. I put it through Google Translate. There's nothing about that. So I think the white stuff was just kind of like another kind of cabbagey or mayonnaise thing. I'm glad I put my own like cabbage in it so it has some kind of texture.
It did look like coleslaw, didn't it?
Yeah. It's not bad. Like I will say, compared to some of like the instant bag burgers I've had in the UK, this is actually seriously decent. The bread's all right. Like the patty is not like bad. And like the sauce is just like a nice kind of sticky teriyaki sauce. I bought this for like 100 yen at a discount store. I was expecting this to be awful.
Yeah, a cold instant burger. Ooh, that doesn't sound appetizing to anyone.
But no, it's like really because I'm not sure, the burger might be chicken, I'm not sure. But it just feels like a cold kind of teriyaki flavored sandwich.
Neat.
Yeah, this is really decent. And that's dangerous. I will put that.
So you're likely to have those again, are you, John?
No, because then me attempting to do exercise would go thoroughly out the window.
No.
But maybe that was only 100 yen, which I will put it in cents was about 70 pence.
That's real good.
Yeah, like you just suddenly need calories for some reason. Or like feed an army of something, I don't know, with teriyaki burgers. No, I was thoroughly surprised by that. I was thoroughly surprised. So therefore, I'll give it a rating, my very inconsistent rating schedule. I will give it a golden kamui.
Ooh.
I thought it would be cheap and weird, but I'm actually really enjoying it. Please know, I do love golden kamui, though it is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yep, that's high praise coming from John.
Yeah, no, I'm more. It's like the whole thing. The fact I added, if there was no cabbage in it, which I added myself because I was making shredded cabbage for some other stuff. If there was no cabbage in it, I'd probably lower the score. But I can improve things as well. I can make them better. That's why I'm here in Japan.
All right, If you say
Yeah,
so.
I don't know where I was going with that, but there
It
we are.
sounded like you were blowing your own trumpet a little bit there, John.
Yes, I know how food works. That will make me guest star on the next season of Shokugeki no Soma. No, it won't.
It'll just be a fusion of the two Italian brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, to be honest, I am just the Italian brother who gets like really thin for a small amount of the show and also then is really fat, because that is really what I am. That is just me. I'm like, I feel attacked.
Oh.
Though I do know, I do love their knife, the Mezzoluna, the half moon, because we used to have one of those at home, and they are amazing for chopping herbs. They're like the Italian rocky knife. I love them so much.
Did it get stolen by a guy named after a car?
No, it did not. I think it just got eaten by the cupboard. But
well, that's a different problem.
as all kitchen implements do. But with that, that's the end of our snack break. Over to Future John.
Podcast magic.
Oh yeah, that was a snack break. Oh wait, I've still got some of the burger here. I can imply.
Of course, you still have some of the burger there, John. You literally just ate some of it.
And I'm eating some now.
Yay!
It's like no time has passed.
Stop breaking kayfabe, John.
I've been playing too many games, including Final Fantasy games, that just break the fourth wall or don't care that it exists.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that Final Fantasy III routinely breaks the fourth wall, because if they didn't, we'd have no idea what any of the buttons do.
That is a good point. That is a good point. But on not
it's a lesser of two evils.
Yeah, so on not knowing what any of the buttons do, it's time for us to judge stuff that we have no right to have any opinion on. It's the Anime Awards. Woo! Next time on Geeks and Gaijins.
Let the controversy begin.